Hi, my name is Judie VanKooiman, and you're watching Life Issues. This month's show is about working moms, and my guests are Kate Anslinger and Jennifer Powell. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Kate, I'm going to start with you. You served in the Air Force. What made you decide to do that, and how long were you in the service?
I was in for 4 years, 99 to 2003, and I kind of just followed in my brother's footsteps. He went in before me, and he got his education, and I kind of followed behind him. And I knew I wanted to go to college, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet or where I wanted to go, so I wanted a little adventure, and I certainly got it, and that's why I went in.
Okay. Where did you serve at?
I was at Biloxi, Mississippi, Keesler Air Force Base, and Los Angeles Air Force Base for 2 years. Yeah.
Thank you very much for serving our country.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And Kate, can you please tell us about your family?
I have a wonderful husband, Mike, and 2 daughters, a 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old.
Okay. And you have a couple of jobs. You are a reporter for our local paper, the Winthrop Transcript, and you are an author of how many books have you written?
I have 4 published, and I'm working on my 5th right now.
Good for you. And Jen, I'm going to turn to you. You have 5 children. Can you please tell us about how you make it work?
I do. I have 5 children. When you say that, it sounds like so much. A lot of systems, a lot of planning ahead, a lot of scrambling. Every day you just never know what's going to happen, and you need to be able to pivot and be quick about it. I have 3 who are older now, so they've moved out of the house, and we have 3 grandchildren, so we're keeping up with them as well.
You don't look old enough.
They keep me young.
Yeah, it's always special to have little ones around.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so you still have 2 at...
I still have 2 at home, one who's in high school, she's a senior, and one who is a freshman.
Wow.
So 2 in the high school right now.
Wow, time's gonna go by fast.
Yes, it does.
And Jen, you had an early career in journalism that landed you at the Boston Herald. What did you learn from that?
I loved working in journalism. It was exciting to be able to ask people questions and always be on the alert. And that's pretty much what I learned, is to always be asking questions, and always, every time something happens, I want to know more about it. And I love being able to tell people about it. And I learned also about how to tell stories, how to get people's interest in it up, and how to communicate using your words and your writing.
Mm-hmm. And you were also a writer and editor for development at Dana-Farber prior to that. What type of publications did you write for them?
So at Dana-Farber, I worked a lot in their development office, which means that I was writing for the fundraising arm of it. But what we did was translate the science into understandable stories so that people would understand the work that they were doing and where their money would be going and what it would be used for. It's such an exciting place, and they do so much to take care of the patients. It's always very much patient first, and the discoveries there are just incredible. So in addition to writing about the people who work there, the patients who were being served, I also got to write a lot about the science, which was really exciting to be able to translate all of this really cool gene therapy stuff, and it's just amazing how many advances they've been able to make, and yet how far they still have to go.
Right, exactly. I mean, all types of cancers and stuff.
Oh yeah,
horrible. Yeah, and Jen, but now you are the founder of the Excellent Writers. Can you please tell us about that, and what do you do? So
the Excellent Writers group has really 2 sides. One is marketing communications, so I work with small businesses and growing businesses on their communication plans. So that's everything from their blogs to their social media to their websites to I do some press releases, I do some internal communications and a lot of external communications, emails. As you know, with technology, everything is changing so rapidly. It's a lot of effort to keep up with it and really know how to use your money well. And then the other side of it is working with writers and helping them with if they want to finish a book or if they would just want to improve their writing skills. I do a lot of editing, and a lot of working with business owners who want to write their own blogs, but they need some guidance or some help or some editing.
Mm-hmm. Great. And Kate, getting back to talking about your books, how did you come up with the topics to write about, and what type of research do you do for them?
Well, all 4 of my books have varied, well, the last 2 are part of a series, the McKenna Mystery Series, but they're all very different. I've always been fascinated by the 60s, and I grew up on a lake in New Hampshire, so Underwater Secrets kind of follows 2 different characters and spans several generations. So it's something I always wanted to write about, and there was a lot of research as far as, like, you know, with that one I could talk to a lot of family members who were, you know, alive and in their prime in those days. As far as the McKenna Mystery Series, I have a lot of crime questions, so I have a lot of detectives that I speak with, a lot of doctors for certain parts of the books, and I actually have built kind of like a little team that I can rely on, and they're always like acknowledged in the books.
Nice. Good. That must be fun and kind of interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you never know what will come up.
Yep.
And you are also a blogger. How do you come up with topics to write about?
Well, I'm still a blogger. I blog for anywhere from finance, health, fitness, legal, and it really kind of depends on what the goal of the company is and what time of year it is. That could have something to do with it as well. And you just think of like trending topics and other hot topics that are out there, and you write about those because that's typically what people are interested in reading.
Okay, good. And can you tell us about your favorite story has been to write about for the paper?
I have so many. I will say that I don't know if I have a favorite, but I definitely love writing about people and like human interest stories. I did do one where I followed a resident who was raising money to run the Boston Marathon, and that was a really fun story to write because you know he was running for a good purpose, and he shared his story and why it was so meaningful for him. And you know I followed him throughout the whole thing afterwards, and we did a follow-up story. So I like those human interest pieces.
Yeah, they feel good.
Exactly.
Because there's so much bad negativity out there.
Right, right.
So anything that positive and happy.
Exactly, and if it's going to inspire someone else, that's even better.
Yeah, good for you. Thank you for doing that. And Jen, you've been working with writers to help them finish books. What is the biggest thing that they face, and how do you overcome that?
You know, they think that it's that they don't have time, which to an extent is true. We're all extremely busy. But what I find is there's really a fear factor, and there's a piece of them that is afraid that once they write the book, it won't be accepted or people won't like it. And so that's what you're overcoming, is that confidence to keep at it and understand that it won't necessarily be exactly the way you want it the first time you write it, that it's going to be a lot of editing, but it's working with them to understand that they just need to keep at it and that they can do this and that they do have something important to say. And I really believe that anybody who wants to write a book, just the fact that you want to write a book tells me that there's a story in you to get out. And so I really encourage people to keep at it and not let the time factor get in. We work it out. We break it down into smaller bits and try to understand what it is that's holding them back, where their roadblocks are.
Okay. And what is online marketing?
Online marketing. It's
the whole world.
It is how pretty much everything is done. So, for instance, when you go to Google and you type in something that you're searching for, say flowers, you know, lovely flowers that we have, you will get, the first thing that you'll see are ads. And that's part of what online marketing it is. And then after that, when you go to Facebook, when you go to other sites, you're going to see little ads on the side for flowers. That's also online marketing. But what I do is a much broader picture of it. So it's not just the ads that you see, but it also would include your social media, your blogging, your whole picture of everything that you do online, basically all of your online activities. And how are you going to make the most of those to reach your potential clients and customers? Because in our world, you could have the best business in the world, but if people don't know about it, they don't know to call you. So how are you going to reach the people who you really can serve best?
Right. Okay, very good. And Jen, what are your hobbies and activities?
My long list of, let's see, I like to draw, I knit, I sew, I ski, I sail. We just bought a sailing boat tonight. I'm actually going to be
She
going.
bowls.
I bowl.
She bowls.
Right.
So I have a wide. I
Did you say
run.
run? Okay.
I run every day, yeah.
Dogs.
I have 2 dogs. I don't know if they count as a hobby, but
Part
They-
of the family.
Pearls.
they are
Yeah.
definitely
Yes.
part of the family.
Yes, our four-legged friends always.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you,
I keep busy.
Yeah.
I like to, I just have a desire to know about how to do things. And so I find, I'll get an interest in, and if I generally go in 2 feet wholeheartedly,
yeah.
become an expert at whatever it is that I'm interested in, and then move on to the next thing.
Okay, all right. And Kate, what are your hobbies and activities?
Jen and I are very similar, except for the fact that I cannot knit at all or draw.
Okay.
But I love fitness, exercise, yoga, running, my dogs, animals. What else? I used to be really into scrapbooking.
You have a
but
giant
I
dog.
wasn't. I have a giant dog. He's like 5 hobbies. Reading, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's good. Good. Plus, your family and husband. And all
There,
that, so
yeah.
you-
There's 10 more hobbies right there for you.
Yeah, I don't know how you ladies do it. Everything. Wow. Wow. And Kate, how do you manage to juggle being a wife, mom, and work?
Like Jen said, I mean, systems, being organized. I feel like every single second of my day is accounted for in a different way. And I think it's just, I mean, with the girls are so young now, they're constantly going through like different changes that you have to kind of evolve your schedule around. But it's being prepared, and it's, getting on a schedule. We actually started like a family schedule in Google Calendars. So like my husband knows, tonight I was coming here, so I'm not going to be home when he gets home. The babysitter's going to be there. So stuff like that. It's being prepared and organized.
So just make sure everyone's on the same page. and
Yeah.
Works
Yeah.
together. And
Exactly.
stuff. That's good. That's good. And Jen, do you have some tips for working moms out there?
I so many. I would say number 1 is to give yourself a break. We all feel so much pressure to be perfect and to do everything right. And the reality is, in any given day, there is more to do than you can actually accomplish. And when you understand that and accept that, you'll, at the end of the day, when you haven't accomplished everything that you wanted to, you can give yourself a break. So at the end of every day, I recommend going through the list of what actually went well. What did you do right for that day? There's something that went the way that you wanted to. There's some things that you can give yourself credit for. Focus on those things, and then the next day you're going to be more likely to do them. Otherwise you're going to you get into a cycle of beating yourself up, and that doesn't help anybody.
Something always comes up when you're a working mom, like whether it's something with the kids or with work.
Yep.
And it's always going to set you back, and you're going to feel crummy about it, but you have to look at what you did accomplish, and you have to go into every day knowing that you could have, a sidestep here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life happens.
Right.
Just got to pivot and stay on top of it.
Right. And Jen, you are also a blogger. What is your favorite topic to write about?
My favorite topic for blogging is writing, actually. I do a lot of client work. I do a lot of blogs for them, but my favorite is to write about what I know best, which is my writing. I like to write about things how do you get through writer's block, and how do you come up with new ideas and that sort of thing. I actually have my own blog on excellentwriters.com, which is all about writing. And I like talking to authors about how did you get through your books, and finding tips and things that I can pass along to other people.
That's a good idea. Yeah, excellent. Excellent. And Jen, you're also on the Winthrop School Committee. Why did you want to run for that position?
I was watching what was happening with the national politics and feeling somewhat frustrated because there was nothing I could do about that. But I knew that on the local level, I could have an impact. And I had some very good people in town who looked at me and said, women tend not to run for office unless they're asked. And they straight out looked at me in the eye and said, will you please run? So I did. And I didn't know really what to expect. But I had a lot of active people, and I was very fortunate to be that that the voters believed in me and put me up, even though I've lived in this town for 20 years, but I haven't grown up here like a lot of people have, but I do have children in the school system, and so I do feel like I have a good insight and I have a lot of passion to make sure that we have the best school system that we can possibly have for our town.
One thing I noticed about Jen, as you can really see her her past journalist career when on the school committee, because she asks the right questions and she's always asking questions like you said you like to do before, and I think that makes her so successful in that position.
Thank you. It's very kind of you to say.
How long is your term?
I'm halfway through, so we've got 2 years, and then we'll decide what happens in 2 years.
We're going to rerun.
If I'll run, or we'll see how things are going then. It is. It's not that it hasn't been super controversial, but there are a lot of really important issues, and I think that the budgets are always a challenge, and how are we going to do well? And I'm amazed at how well we are doing. We definitely are budget challenged, but we just went over the MCAS scores, and it was very exciting to see that there are a lot of places in which we are actually surpassing the state average. So I think that our administration, our teachers deserve a lot of credit for that, because they really are so dedicated and hardworking.
Yeah, great. Kate, is there anything else that you would like to add that we've talked about, or something that we didn't?
What's your advice to working moms?
What's my advice for working moms? Don't get sucked into the overwhelm.
Okay.
And don't, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, can you tell? Also, don't compare yourself with other moms or working moms for that because everyone has such a different life. And I know it's so easy to put people in a box and compare yourself with so-and-so, but you don't know what goes on behind the scenes, and you kind of just got to focus on your own life and take it day by day.
Right, yeah. Jen, is there anything that you would like to add?
I'll play on that. Just focus on the here and the now, and really be present. Be present with your children. They do grow so fast, and it's breathtaking to me. And so just take the time to notice and appreciate every stage of life. Every stage with your children has its own challenges, and it feels like the biggest, hardest thing that you've ever had to deal with until you have to deal with the next thing.
That's so true. She tells me that all the time because I have the little ones and she's been through it all.
Yeah, the older ones.
And like being more present is definitely on my list of priorities.
Okay. Kate, if anyone has any questions, can you please give us your contact info?
Sure, you can reach me at Kate Anslinger, ANSLINGER @gmail.com.
Okay, great. And Jen, can you please give us your info if anyone would like more info?
Yes, my website is excellentwriters.com, and my email is jpowell@excellentwriters.com.
Okay.
And I'm also, like Kate, on Facebook.
Yes.
And Instagram.
Posting dog photos.
Yes.
All those. Okay, great. I'm sorry, but that's all the time that we have. Thank you both for all you do for those in need. I'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions. Please send them to lifeissuestv@gmail.com. And before I sign off, I would like to say a few words on a more personal note. It's been 9 years since I started Life Issues, and I'd like to thank my audience for watching and appreciating the show, and all my guests over the years, and my director, who is also my editor, who rocks at both things. Thanks, Matt. And lastly, all the cable stations, 9 altogether, for supporting this show, and along with my nonprofit, Those Who Can, for those in need. It's all about helping and connecting people with resources. I wish all of you a very healthy and prosperous holiday season, and please be kind to one another and live each day to the fullest and celebrate life.